You mentioned AI there. You've been investing in the space for, at least as I can tell from listening to old podcasts from several years ago, you've been investing in the space for a while. Obviously, it's red hot now. Curious, and knowing from following your work that you're, we'd say, is a price sensitive investor, and correct me if your views on that have changed. How do you think about new capital going into AI today at angel, pre-seed, seed?
So I have my opinions on the market, which are a bit colored by the fact that I'm a contrarian, right? That's my job. Every venture capitalist says they're contrarian, but if they're investing in AI right now, they're not a contrarian, obviously. One of the reasons, like with Trade Desk, where we had a hard time scratching together the first round for Jeff, nobody else believed it, So that ends up being a better investment, I think, than one where everybody believes it. I've seen investments where people are like, oh, we have a pool of investors, we have 80 people interested, we're doing uncapped notes, things where you're like, wait, why would I do this? And there's absolutely no potential financial return here for me. The company, usually that's with somebody who's, a previous founder who's done very well. And I understand why people are excited about it, but if you can't make money, then, being part of a successful company doesn't mean much, right? Like as an investor, I guess that's how I feel about AI. It's, I do have some reservations about the hype. The technology, I think, is amazing, right? I mean, the technology is crazy. It's, write me a Shakespearean sonnet on, interest rate changes. Right? It's like, okay, it does. It reminds me of a line in the what movie was it? That Will Smith movie that they made, I, Robot, where and I don't think this was in the original book, but Will Smith says to the robot, he's like, oh yeah, well, can you write a symphony? Can you create a beautiful oil painting of the sunset? And the robot looks at him and says, can you? It's so I feel that way about this technology, right? Like it does things I can't do. I mean, I'm sure I could write a sonnet about interest rate changes. It would probably suck and it would take me like 3 days. So yeah, I mean, the technology is like magic. On the other hand, it's not and can't be human level intelligence. I mean, it doesn't do what humans do in thinking. And it can't evolve from what it's doing to what humans do, right? So there's this great book that came out recently called The Origin of Intelligence. A great book. It talks about like the evolutionary stages of becoming intelligent. And when you get past the third stage, it's like, oh, okay, well, one of the things that humans do is they simulate their own actions, right? If I put my foot here, what's going to happen? And a lot of animals do this. And then the next stage is they simulate other people's actions. If I say this, what are they going to say, right? And this is a big part of our thinking. This is not what AI is doing, right? AI is doing maybe the first 3 stages. It's learning and repeating, but it's not doing past that. So, while I think the technology is amazing and magical, I don't think that it's going to replace humans in general purpose jobs, which is fine. I mean, I think there's plenty of places to use the technology. A couple of the companies I've invested in are using it as a tool, makes part of what they're doing much easier. But what they're doing is not being an AI company. They're doing something else and using AI as a tool. So that's great. I also think that if you could have invested in one of the early AI tool companies like OpenAI, that also would have been a great investment. But that's already passed. So yeah, I'm not investing directly in AI companies. And most of what I see people saying they're going to use AI for doesn't seem that exciting to me. And then the ones that do seem exciting are, $50 million pre-monies for, 2 people and an idea. And that's, you can't make money doing that. Not on a portfolio basis.